We got some action. Don't do what I do. If you can see, I got my horse tied with the bit in her mouth. And pay close attention to the ground where there's no paw marks. That's a miracle, just so you know. That was not given to me. That was worked for. What did I do to get that done? Nothing. It just got done. Stuff just happens. I just told her to quit doing it. You know, you guys have watched my videos enough. You just yell at the horse. So I quit doing groundwork with her. What I've noticed, so I'm always thinking about how, what, when, where, why. You know, my horse started throwing her head, asking her to go forward, and I'm just setting the camera up. When I asked her to go forward, she started throwing her head, and so I was like trying to figure out why, you know, what did I do different? So I'm groundwork 3 days, I think, and then I started riding her around in the walk for 3 days probably. I don't know how many days. And then come on. See, this is the kind of stuff that's, come on. She's a little bit tougher than most horses. Let's go. This ain't normal for most horses, just so you guys know. She's my horse, and I've already accepted this. I'm not going to beat on my horse every day to get her to do something. I get on the other side. Come on, I get on the other side. Let's go. I'm not going to beat on her every day. One more step. One more step. One more step forward. Forward. Okay. So I'm not going to beat on her every day to get her to do stuff. And that's kind of what I've you know, she'll be 3 here. She's 3-year-old year. And I just really refuse to, I can get her to do stuff. That's not a problem. The only thing I really made sure of, as you guys can see in the videos, she ain't gonna kick me, she ain't gonna buck me. I can say that with some confidence. I mean, I don't want to start bragging and get bucked off, because, you know, that could happen, 100% could happen with her. But I'm not going to beat on my horse to make her do stuff. I pick my battles with her. I've already accepted. It's been a little bit of a frustration with you know, from birth until now with things, and I kind of went through some frustrating things, and I just decided that I'm going to make her mind, and I'm going to make her be safe. Okay, that's not an option. Okay, her not killing me, you know, that's, you know, whatever I have to do to make her be good as far as safety goes. But as far as, like, you know, you guys seen me on the ground putting my foot in the stirrup and her backing up and not standing still. Bridling her and her, you know, not doing it perfectly, not standing there perfectly. I'm not going to beat on my horse to get her to do that stuff perfect. I've just accepted that to make her do stuff perfectly, I feel like I have to be a little bit too hard on her. And so I'm not willing to do that. When it comes to safety, there is no level of how hard, she's not going to hurt me. And at this level, at this stage of our relationship from birth until now, she's got a pretty clear understanding of, you know, things that she can't do, period. There's no middle ground. And so I got my foot in the stirrup right now, and I never really taught her to come up to this like you would teach a horse to do it. I've just kind of started doing it. And that's what I'm saying about, I could teach her to do this and make it really pretty, but we want to give Bill Thomas some stuff to do for you guys to make it look good. I'll just make it look okay, and he can make it look pretty and give him the bragging rights. I'm just doing stuff to get it good enough. You know, I got to be able to, she's got to stand here when I'm on the step. I can't put my foot in the stirrup and have, you know, I can hop around on the ground, but when she comes up to the step, you know, she just pretty much has to stand here. I'll fall off the steps. So, and you can see that I've kind of done that. And I kind of skipped a lot of videos, just because it's like, there's nothing to really see, but a lot of talking. Wanted to kind of catch you up on where I'm at and what I figured out. And what and like, I'm just talking. So it's like, when I say something that I do or don't do, or never do this, or can't, you know, it's like, take it with a grain of salt. I don't really know what I'm talking about. And sometimes I remember one time, I think I talked about working them over there in the corner and then working them over there. Well, I misspoke. You work them over in that corner and then let them rest over in that corner, and then they won't go over into that corner. Me personally, and this is why I kind of say in my videos, don't do what I do, is because of my understanding of how the brain works in a horse. Is my horse goes over to that corner, I don't go over there and work her. It's my animal. I just make her mind. If she's over in that corner and I don't want her to go over in that corner, I tell her no, and I tell her to get over here. It's that simple. For me, my horse. Does that work the way they tell you to do it? Yeah, but understanding the mind, I don't have to do all that extra work. There's a lot of extra work to do that I don't do because of how a horse's mind is. There's no place in this arena that I ride where I have to fight her to not go to. And other than her coming to the middle and wanting to stop a little bit, and I like that kind of stuff because then it gives me an opportunity to make her mind. Like I have to have her do something that I don't want her doing so that I can teach her to mind me. You can't teach a horse to do something. That's why I didn't want anybody to touch her when I was teaching her how to tie with the halter and how not to kick, because I want her to kick at me at a distance so that I can give her, and so I can teach her that that's absolutely 100% not allowed. So, talking about kicking, and I'm just sitting on her, letting her relax. You know, sometimes I don't just get on my horse. I don't never get on my horse and go. I'll tell you that. If I get on a horse, I want it standing, not moving. Period. I don't care whose horse it is. I get on it, we're not doing nothing. We're just sitting here. And so the kicking thing is, you know, I'll tell you a little bit about how I do it with horses. And like I said, I don't recommend doing it this way because it's dangerous. I get the horse to stop kicking me from about 15 feet. That's where I get the kicking me done. I don't get the kicking me done when I'm by the horse. So then, when I get up next to the horse, and I can't tell you exactly what I do. I know my personality is they're not allowed to kick. So if a horse needs to be trimmed and, hey, I need to trim this horse's feet, can you get it ready? Yeah, it takes me about, a good horse, okay, let me specify, a good horse, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes. And so a lot of people will put the rope on the horse's feet or do stuff so they don't have to get by the horse's feet to pick it up. And I recommend doing that, but what I do is make sure the horse understands through my communication with them that not to kick me, okay? Like, I get them to understand kind of like I'm going to kill you if you kick me. Like it's a real thing. And they understand that. Just like when they're in the pasture trying to be a herd boss. So, okay, so now let me really explain this to you. You can still get kicked by a horse getting scared and reacting. A horse getting scared and reacting and kicking you is different than a horse thinking, I'm just going to kick this dude, I don't want him by me. So that's a horse not minding. Getting kicked by a horse that is trying to boss you around is a horse not minding. And then they're going to learn to kick you. A horse reacting out of fear and kicking, you're not teaching the horse to do that. That's a fear-based thing where you need to teach him not to be scared and to think. And, you know, I'm talking to you like I know something because I do. And can you still get kicked and killed? Yes, 100%. I don't think I'm the guy that's never going to get hurt. I already figured that out. Okay, I've already been hurt. And so I get the horse to understand not to kick me when it's like 15 feet away on a lunge line, where you put pressure on them and they kick out at you because they don't want you to put that pressure on them. And then I do what I do, and, you know, I had a horse that kicked out at me one time. I told it not to do it, basically. And I say that, but there's things I do. And then did the same way 2 or 3 more times, and the horse lifted its butt up, but it didn't kick out. And that's a good horse. That's a horse that tried to kick at me one time from way out there, you know, not going to be able to kick me. A good horse that tried to kick at me one time. I said, no, you don't do that. Corrected the horse. Did the same pressure to try to get the horse to kick me again. Not to try to get it to kick me on purpose, but to see if it would. And then it lifted its butt up. And so I did it again, and it lifted its butt up. And it didn't kick out. So then at that point, I can start getting closer to the horse, because the horse kicked out at me. Then I taught it not to kick out at me. Now I can start to get closer to the horse, but you got to be careful, because they'll kick out at you as a reaction and fear if you get too close to them and they get scared. It's different than if they're kicking out at you because they're misbehaving. And that's why it's like there's 2 completely different things going there, and the same, you can still get kicked with both of them. But the horse's mind is in 2 completely different spots, and one has nothing to do with the other as far as teaching a horse. You're not teaching a horse not to kick you if it's reacting out of fear. You have to teach the horse not to be scared, okay? If you teach the horse not to be scared, then you can teach the horse to mind. Because the horse that's doing something out of fear, you're not teaching the horse you're not telling the horse to be good. It's just a reaction. And a horse that's trying to kick you out of just not minding, it's different. That's a serious problem. The reaction thing and the fear thing is relatively easy to fix. You just relax the horse's mind so he can think through it. Just like I did with my dog turning around to bite. I made him so he could think. I made it so he's still scared, turns around just as fast as he did, but he looks to see what's there first, and then makes the decision to bite. And it's just like with the horse, kick it out of fear. It's like, be scared, but look and see what you're scared of first before you kick. And so I'm kind of saying a lot here, but I just wanted to talk about the difference of a horse misbehaving and kicking you and a horse getting scared and kicking you. It's 2 completely different things. So, and that's why I kind of say in my videos, don't do what I do, because depending on what I'm doing and where the horse is at mentally, depends on whether, if I'm doing something that's scaring the horse, I will quit, back off, relax the horse, see where the spot is when it starts to get the fear, and then work from there. Now, if I'm doing something where a horse is misbehaving, I'm not going to ever quit in the middle of that. We're going to get through that. So that's kind of, I guess I'm explaining to you why I kind of say don't do what I do, because if a horse's mind is in a state where it's getting scared and reacting, I will quit and take all the pressure off the horse, get the horse relaxed, bring it back down, and then I will start to see where that fear starts, and I'll go to that spot. And I'll put a little pressure on the horse, scare it a little bit. Not really scare it, but just, and then I'll take the pressure away and relax them again. Because everybody's all about, just keep doing it and the horse will get over it. And they do, but I just feel like there's a better way to do it, where go to the spot where the horse starts to get worried and fix it. And then when you take the pressure away, it lets the horse relax again. It's teaching a horse to mentally relax through different things, and then teaching a horse to mind. That's different than what I'm talking about, getting them to take a saddle, getting them to take a rider because they're scared. Now my horse is not scared no more. Anything she does from here on out is her misbehaving. It's not her reacting and getting scared. So now, she actually taught me this, because I'm like, horses ain't gonna learn to buck the saddle off. Horses ain't gonna learn to buck you off. And I'm like, my head's like thinking, because I never had my horses misbehave, really. I mean, they've always kind of done what I told them to do to a point, and I've never, I never let them not do, but when she stopped going forward, that's when I realized, okay, this is a spot where the horse is at mentally, where if you don't make them go through this and forward, she's gonna learn to misbehave. Now, if you're on a horse that's new and scared to go forward and they're not really learning not to do it, because they're just locked up. They're mentally locked up. So if you're on a horse that's mentally locked up because you just saddled them and got them and they're just frozen from fear, then if you get off them and let them relax and get that fear gone, they're not learning to not go forward. I hope this kind of makes sense to you, because I think it's important for you guys watching my videos and what I do. And then because I can't really, you watching me do stuff and it's like, oh, you shouldn't do that, shouldn't do that. Well, and then when she stopped going forward, like I said, I don't want to beat on my horse every day I get her out. And so I'm not gonna. I haven't. She's, I just got on her, see what she does when I go forward. See? So, I mean, that's how she was for call it 3 weeks. I was walk, trot, and then starting to lope. And what I did, I'm always thinking about, what did I start doing different? When she started throwing her head and not wanting to go forward, and just the change in her behavior where she was like that. And then what did I stop doing? I stopped mentally groundworking her to where, if you want them to lay down, if I wanted to put a saddle on her for the first time and have her not reacting, get her really, really mentally good to where I can pick her feet up, she's not going to kick out. You see me put the saddle on her. I never had the saddle out with her ever before. I put the saddle pad on her before, but I'm saying, the saddle, the stirrups, all the stuff. I did things leading up to that. But anyway, so I rode her one day to the point where I got her so soft that I took she's not going to lay down with me in the saddle, because I understand how the brain works, and she's not allowed to do that, period. My horse minds. You can't lay down if I'm in the saddle, period. And because I understand how the brain works, and it's not even just that, it's like my horse is going to mind me. She's not going to lay down with the saddle on. I stopped doing that. I rode her one day and got her so soft and so relaxed mentally that I took the saddle off, and she laid down and just laid there for I don't know how long she would have laid there for. And I stopped doing that because I wanted to get more, I needed to get her going forward more. It's really hard for me to get her to do a fast circle in the lope. And some people are like, they can't stop their horse from running off. Well, I got her so good, and I'm just talking. I don't know what I got. This is the first time I've ever done this with any horse ever. Okay? So I'm just talking. I put some saddle on some horses and they didn't buck, and people could ride them, and they didn't buck. And I've had the ones that, you just, different stuff happen, and every horse is a little bit different, but the process is exactly the same. What takes longer or shorter depends on the horse. So this is the first time I've ever done this. I've never had a baby horse, for one. And then, the talking about when they're weanling or when they're just born and rubbing all over them and doing all that stuff. I don't know if that stuff really matters. If you got a good horse and you never touch it until it's 2, it's going to be good. I don't think that rubbing all over them when they're born is going to make them a different horse. I mean, I'm not saying it won't make things easier, but a horse that's good is just going to be good. And you can do stuff to make it better, but I just believe that a horse like these performance horses, they're bred to move, like right now. They're bred to get after it. And so anyway, long story short, I was working with this horse, long story longer. It needed to get his feet trimmed. I don't even think it was a year old. And so I was messing around with like 10 or 15 minutes. Really super good horse, super easy-minded, good, not going to kill you horse. I'm like, man, this horse is going to be easy to start and, get riding and stuff. And so I worked with it for 10 or 15 minutes, started picking its feet up and stuff, getting it ready. And I didn't use any ropes or anything on it because the horse was just good. I explained to it, worked with it and said, hey, you don't kick me. And I got up by the hip and I didn't go down to the foot. I went to the hip and seen where anything started bothering her. And then I would stop and get that so it was good until I could get down to the foot. And then the horse wiggled one foot a little bit to the point where I was like, wow, I don't want to stand there and hold it. I could get a rope on it and then I can stand up and hold it and it'd be easier on my body. But the horse wasn't going to kick me, okay, period. It wasn't happening. And then I'm like thinking, man, this horse is going to be, and then somebody walked by and said to somebody else, that horse kicks, watch out. And I've been sitting there working with this horse for 10 or 15 minutes. And I just looked at the horse and looked at them and I'm like, this horse don't kick at all. I mean, it's like one of the easiest horses. And like I said, I don't have a lot of experience, but I got experience with tough horses and easy horses, okay? I got that experience. I don't have experience with thousands of horses, but I got experience with super easy horses and super hard horses. And that horse I consider regular. I don't know if it was super easy, but she was just a good-minded horse, not trying to kick me. Because I established a relationship in 15 minutes where it's like, I'm the boss, okay? I'm the guy that you don't kick, okay? I'm going to help you. I don't know how to explain it, but she's getting impatient, which is perfect. Starting to walk around and stuff. She needs to get impatient. Quit! And this is where, I'm glad this happened right there because I want to explain to you. Every single time my horse does something that's a behavior problem, I always say something to her. I never ignore it. Like I don't always hit her or do anything physical to her, but I just let her know that I seen her do it and not to do it. And you kind of see how she was kind of being, and I yelled at her. Now, does she always mind me perfectly when I yell at her? No. But it doesn't go, she knows this, how far she can push it with me. I'm kind of she can kind of do stuff and I don't really, I just decided, she'll be good. And the stuff that's really important, as you guys can see in my videos, there's zero chance. I'm not going to say there's zero chance of me getting hurt, okay? Because I got this horse going really, really good. Of course, you can see that in the videos. And even to the point where she's throwing her head and resisting me, but she won't do anything from the body back because she could hurt me. And it's like she knows she's not allowed to hurt me. And I say that, and I don't want to say that too soon because there could be a situation. But as long as I don't put too much pressure on her, and push the limit with her mind too much to where we actually do start fighting. Right now we're not fighting. She's not wanting to mind and I'm making her mind. There ain't really a fight. But if we get into that too much pressure too soon, we could end up being in a fight and then, she's a 1,000-pound animal. Just gonna start walking her around a little bit. But I'm not doing a lot on her today. I just wanted to get on here and talk. I taught her how to neck rein. So you can see my neck rein, and that's no legs. So that's the neck rein. And it probably took me a week to do that. I thought maybe get her going forward. Hey, yeah, that's a forward cue. I touched her with my spur. It probably took me a week to get her to neck rein. And the thing is, get her forward. Oh, right in camera. Now she got her neck reining perfectly, and she don't want a neck rein. So we got her fixed. I just fixed her. I just had to take her and fix her. That's how long it takes to fix it. But that's the thing. Well, I'm glad that kind of happened because so I taught her to neck rein, and she neck reins pretty perfectly. But this is what I've been trying to figure out, this horse training thing. How long does it take to teach a horse to do something? Well, I got her neck reining. Okay, pretty good. Now, and then I did it right there, and she didn't do it. So when I neck rein her, she does it very gently, very soft, very easy. I figure I'll probably spend a week kind of getting this really kind of dialed in, where her head's not popping up, and just like this right here is that right there. Getting it like that at the very basic level so far. But then I realized that's only going to get better with someone riding her that knows how to teach a horse to neck rein, because then when she doesn't do it, you have to fix it. And so like her mom's 14, 15 years old. I can pull on the neck rein as hard as I want. She's going to neck rein. She's not turning her. And when I get her here, I'll show you this stuff. I'm not going to be loping her around or anything really today. I just wanted to get on here, and I didn't beat on my horse to fix this head tossing thing. Okay, I want to be real clear about that. I kind of told her every time she did it not to do it. I smacked her a few times. I had to get her going forward, so I used the pressure I needed to use to get her to go forward. But on the head tossing thing, I did some corrections physically, but most of the time I just told her to knock it off. She's a drama queen. Okay, that's the going through the head tossing thing, and then tightening the saddle, and all, having her for it's her 3-year-old year. I've kind of gave her the nickname Drama Queen, because she does stuff like that that's just drama. She's creating drama for no reason, and that's kind of what drama is. Is you make something out of thin air look bad, and so I'm like, okay, Drama Queen. And I've just kind of accepted that she's kind of a little bit of a drama queen, stuff like that. Could I get it to go away and fix it faster? Yeah, by beating on my horse, I certainly could. But I accepted that a long time ago, realizing that she doesn't do things as fast as I want her to do them, or can be done. And she's a little bit of a drama queen. So then I just decided, I'm just going to keep doing the process. And it's, as you can see, it's all came around to be what it is. It's all came to be good. And I haven't really, the only time I really get aggressive with her, and I haven't really needed to, is if she's going to hurt me. And I haven't even needed to do that, because I basically just have told her to mind me. And it's like my dog's really super emotional, and he hates getting in trouble. So if I cook hamburgers and soak up the grease in a paper towel and put it in the trash, that's a lot of temptation. He'll get in the trash and just get like one thing out. And if I look at him, he knows it. I look at him and pet him and tell him not to get in the trash. That's how little discipline I use on him. I pet him when I tell him not to get in the trash, because he feels so bad that I don't need him feeling that bad. So I'm like, hey buddy, not to do that. Don't do that. And he can't handle, you can't hit him. Okay. He's not the kind of emotionally built dog that can be smacked for misbehaving. I had a dog when I was younger. Every 6 months, I had to give her a spanking to straighten her up. And then she was perfect. But it only lasted for 6 months. I just spanked her butt. But with him, you can't hit him. You could, but it's not good for him. I don't hit him. I'm real careful. And like with her, she wants you to hit her. Okay? She wants to be beat on. And I say that jokingly, but she kind of does make it so I have to really manhandle her a little bit to get her to mind. And I'm just not going to do it. To a point, you know, like I said, if she's going to do something to hurt me. But she ain't bucking. She ain't kicking. She throws her head and swishes her tail. Okay, she's a 3-year-old. Big deal. I've rode her for a couple months now. That's not a big deal. I just need to get her mind softened up, get her relaxed. And you can see, okay, so what I stopped doing was getting her mentally soft to the point to where she'd lay down. And then that's when the head tossing started happening and the tail swishing. And that's because I'm trying to figure out that's just night and day. Like it just popped out of nowhere. Well, I stopped doing the mental softness to the horse for picking their feet up, saddling them, getting on and off them, not dying, basically. Not riding them type of getting them mentally ready to ride so I can get some forward movement. And I stopped doing that, and I'm like, oh, I'm just talking. Okay, I'm not saying that I did anything, I don't know, I'm just talking. But I stopped doing that because it was really hard for me to get her. I can't even lope her in a fast circle. Like she has one speed. She'll slow down really easy. I got to be careful because she's, if I move a little bit, she'll stop and slow down. But to try to get her go faster, I almost can't. You've seen a couple, maybe, I don't know, I've skipped a lot of videos, but it takes a lot for me to get her to go faster in the lope. And so I stopped doing that stuff because I wanted to get her going forward and I don't need her falling asleep. I'm not trying to get her to stand there so I can pick her feet up and trim them. I'm not trying to get her to stand there so I can put a saddle on her without her bucking it off. I'm trying to get her to go forward. So I stopped doing that stuff, and I don't even do groundwork with her anymore. The only groundwork I do with her now is if I need to get her up to the step. That little bit of work I had to do to get her up to the step, I did that. And I basically just get her out and get on her. Because even if she is a little bit fresh and she hops a little, I've never had a problem with her. I've been riding her for 2 months, and she's never one time made me any kind of way concerned about getting hurt on her. Not one time. But I had been doing groundwork on her to the point I was putting her to sleep to mentally soften her up to get her just to lay down and go to bed. And I'm not saying, anything. I'm just talking to you. I'm just telling you what, the difference I did with not doing that anymore and then her stopping, not going forward, throwing her head, and then just kind of ignored it a little bit without not ignoring it, telling her to knock it off. I never just let it go. I told her to quit because she was drama queening it. I wasn't doing anything. It's like, come on, let's go forward. See? And then she would just go into it. And she'd just throw her head up in the air and just go crazy. I mean, I had some days where it's like, what the heck is wrong with this horse? It's like, you don't never see them videos online because the only thing they're showing you online is the good stuff. Anytime somebody's online teaching you how to do something, they're always on a horse that's trained, that looks like this. They're never on the horse. They never show you the mess they go through to get it done sometimes on some horses. Not all horses. This horse is, the 3 days of groundwork and then the walking on her and then trotting on her. And I had 2 days of trotting on her where she was really head up, not really mentally soft for 2 days. The one day and then on the third day, she trotted around just like this. And then, whatever day it was that I transitioned her into a lope was it was so perfectly smooth. Head didn't move. Went right in the lope. I'm like, wow, I am good. And then the next day, nothing. So, I haven't done a lot of videos. Been kind of 5 days, and then I'm like, I watch the videos, and I'm like, oh, the internet's not ready for that. Just joking around. But I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about how horses kick in and what I do. You know, I can come up, get next to them, and then like when I seen a video of a guy with a flag putting it next to the horse's foot, and then the horse was kicking, and he's holding the flag there until it quits kicking. I don't do that. The horse ain't allowed. First of all, I try not to get the horse to start kicking at something because they're scared and worried about it. Okay, before I try to do that so that, because if they're kicking at something because they're scared and worried, you know, I take a different approach. And then they're not allowed to kick. If I touch the horse's leg with anything, no, don't do that. I don't stand there and let them kick until they quit kicking. I grab them up and say, no, we don't kick, period. You do not kick. And then I don't go right to that spot where they start getting worried and kick either. I'll go to a spot where they start to get worried and I'll work into that, so I'm not trying to force them to quit kicking when they emotionally can't handle it. And I'm just talking, you know, I'm not saying, you know, I've got one horse I saddled and I'm riding that was born a baby. And I'm just talking to you about how I do things with the horse's mind. When they're misbehaving, you have to make sure that you don't allow that. And then when they're doing something like kicking out at the flag because it's reacting, well, yeah, I mean, you need to get them to quit reacting and maybe stay with it like that. And that's why I'm saying don't do what I do, because if I got the flag or something and I'm starting a horse and it kicks at the flag because it's reacting and I take it away, I'm not teaching the horse to misbehave, okay? Now, if the horse is kicking at it because they're not minding and they're just kicking at it, I'm not going to quit. But I kind of know where the horse's mind's at when I'm doing something, so I'll decide whether or not I can take it away and soften the horse up and then reapproach it, or if it's just not minding. It's just two completely different things. And I wanted to talk about that. And then talking about horses kicking, I mean, that's kind of important. So if I could help you on teaching you how to do that, where you're teaching them to not kick you when you're 15 feet away. And then the hip disengagement is a big one for them to kick you. When you get close to that hip and try to get them to move that hip away, that's probably the worst thing to do to potentially get kicked if you're close enough to the horse, is trying to ask for them to move that hip away and them have a reaction or misbehavior or whichever. It doesn't really matter which one it is. If you get kicked, it's going to hurt. So it don't matter which one it is. But that's the hardest one to get close to with potentially getting kicked. That's why anytime you see me by a horse's hip, I'm like, don't do this with a horse that ain't ready for it, because you're right there to get kicked. And a lot of horses kick, right? That kind of, that maneuver and whatever it gets them kicking. Or it can, I guess. But a lot of just talking, sitting on my horse. I don't want to really talk no more riding my horse. I've been riding her without talking and just not even videotaping. And just people are hearing stuff sometimes, so I don't do them. But I ride better when I'm not talking to you guys. It's better. I can't explain it. I just thought about it. And that's me. I'm always thinking about, what am I doing? What can make this better? I've been riding around on her talking. And then I rode her without talking and stuff, and I'm just like, I ride better. I'm more focused on the horse, not thinking about saying stuff to you guys. And, I taught her to neck rein. See that? That's a big deal. I didn't touch her with my leg or nothing. The rein never pulled on the bit. This was 100% neck rein. You don't want to brag too much. Now I'm pulling on her. Now I got steady pressure. She's not doing nothing. Okay. I had to talk to her a little bit on that one. That was good. That was a perfect neck rein right there, baby. Yeah, I pulled on it and she gave more. And probably took me a week to do that, of just a little bit at a time. I watched a video of a guy, because so I know how to teach a horse to neck rein, so I'll get online and I'll watch videos on how to neck rein and to see if anybody knows how to do it. Some people know how to do it and don't even know they know how to do it. Is that hilarious or what? I seen a video where they crossed the reins under the chin and clipped them to the opposite sides. I seen one video where they would pull the inside rein and then do with the leg like this. So the leg and then pull the inside rein. And it was a 20-minute video of put your leg on them, pull with the inside rein to teach a horse to neck rein. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you think that has anything at all, and even in the littlest bit of way to teach a horse to neck rein, you are wrong. Let's just accept it. Just say, okay, I'm wrong. If you're pulling on the inside rein, you're teaching the horse to give to the inside rein. If you're putting your foot on the horse, you're teaching the horse to move off your foot. Okay? You can put the neck rein on, and then it does nothing, and then you can use your foot, and basically all you're doing is cueing the horse to move off your foot. It has nothing to do with the neck rein. Zero. And he was 20 minutes on the video doing that. I don't know what he was saying. I'm not even listening to him, because I'm like, what are you talking about? You teaching the way I did it before I knew how to do it, which works really good. And it doesn't get it as strong as you want it, but you put the neck rein on like that, and then you pull with the inside rein. And that way works pretty good. I mean, but then when a situation would come up where I'm showing one-handed, and what do I know about showing one-handed? I've done it once. If I was in a situation where I'm showing one-handed and I had to put a little pressure on the horse to straighten it out, you couldn't do it because you're using that inside rein as a handicap helper. Because if you do it on the neck rein, then if it doesn't do it, you're always pulling on the inside rein, and that defeats. It's not how you do it. It doesn't work. It works good enough to when everything's working perfectly, you have a neck rein that way. But when it's not working perfectly, then it's gone and you have to use the inside rein. And that's why when you watch showing, people always keep that inside rein a little bit shorter. So because they don't know how to get a horse to neck rein, they can lift up on that inside rein and get it to get its head to come to the inside. I 100% don't need to do that. I could, so I'm just talking about when I know how to do something, I go online and I put it in the search thing, and I watch videos on how to do it to see if there's any good videos where I can learn from. And I mean, that's why I couldn't learn how to do this. They don't explain to you how to get a horse. When everybody's talking about getting 2-year-olds started, oh my God, like it's a big, huge deal. Now, she was a big, huge deal, but I've never had a problem with her since day one. Since the very first day I started riding her, I have had 100% of zero issues with getting hurt on her. Never one time has she done anything where I was questioning whether I might get hurt or not. Because of how she moves athletically, and if she was to do that and I was in the saddle, I could get hurt. But she's been just like this, other than her head tossing deal. She's been just like this since the day I got on her. And it's because of the extra, I wouldn't call it extra, but very much perfect mind training her brain to be very, very safe for me to the extreme level of even to where I skipped a lot of stuff because it's like, okay, she's pretty solid mentally, like not gonna react. I'm not worried about her if she's thinking. If she's thinking, I can handle her around a little bit. And if she does do a little bit of misbehavior when she's thinking, I can stop her pretty quick. But if she was to react, and start doing something, woo! You better be riding a 90. If this horse reacts and starts bucking, you better be able to ride a 90, because she is not bucking a 80 in any way. I'm getting off. Step up. Ho! Now just stand there. Ho! Hody ho ho. Santa Claus is in town. So that's why once I realize she's not really going to react and that she's thinking and she's going to mind me, I started riding her. She's about reactive like any other horse, pretty normal reactive type of horse. Not good, not bad, just normal. But I got it so she ain't reacting and she's thinking. So if she's thinking, I can be like, you got a mind. Kind of talked for a long time and didn't really ride my horse, but when you get old and you cough, throw your back out, you gotta just sit on your horse and talk. So I'm getting better. I loved her yesterday, but 46 minutes of me talking. I hope you guys maybe learned something about horses kicking you and bucking and not dying. Peace out.